Oh, sorry, bud. So earlier, we were watching that Asman video.
I'll have everything all ready to go tomorrow. Are you going to be available tomorrow afternoon?
And a secret camera.
Those are girls' numbers, or these are girls' numbers?
No, all of these to here.
Newly released FBI audio and video from the Department of Justice's trove of Epstein records detailing like never before the mission to recover the only known copy of what investigators and others have called Jeffrey Epstein's infamous Black Book.
As I said, man, this guy is like a James Bond villain. Holy shit.
Through the Jeffrey Epstein investigation, they never had that Black Book. They never really even knew about it. It's a plethora of the rich and famous. It's just really the Holy Grail, as they call it.
The book investigators believed might hold the keys to exposing
Everybody
Epstein's
was on this book
secret
too, by the
world,
way.
his connections, and his crimes.
All minors? All young girls?
Very young.
Very young. What does that mean? 16, 17. Ooh.
Yeah, this is the stuff that I talked about the other day that was really pushing me to get into Webb. And that's get access to Webb. I said, and I used it to build my starting point. And it all starts with this. Starts with this email. It's actually these two. This is where we started. These two emails. These twos are where we started at.
It all started in March 2005. The Palm Beach police began their investigation on Epstein, looking into his scheme for sexual massages from young women after a 14-year-old girl reported to law enforcement she was molested at his mansion.
14.
ABC News covering it all in 2019 for a 2020 special.
Jesus.
The Palm Beach police did a thorough investigation. They really had a lot of evidence. They did trash pulls.
Jesus.
It was an 11-month investigation. It was intense.
But Epstein caught wind there was going to be a search at his
And
Palm
he
Beach
deleted
residence
everything, right?
and devised a plan. Videos of the Palm Beach police search match what investigators also reported
Missing
in their own
computers.
documents. That monitors, keyboards, and
even
printers
then, if you look back right here,
and
Right?
devised a plan.
when it goes
Videos of
to
the Palm
here,
Beach
that's a CRT monitor, which means the computer that was connected to is probably just mass storage. Could be surveillance and mass storage, which would make sense because you don't need a monitor like this connected to something that's just accessing information.
police search match what investigators also reported in their own documents. That monitors,
Which is why I say
keyboards, and
somebody high
printers were
level
found,
tipped him off.
but no computers.
Oh, they're gonna get on our computer. Well, what are we gonna do? Get rid of the computer.
Pretty much.
Yeah, go put it somewhere else.
And
There it
that's
is. Just
exactly
get
what
rid of the
happened.
computer. All right. Well, there it is. I mean, fuck.
That's exactly
back it
what
up.
happened.
Yeah, get rid of the computer.
They got rid of all the computers and anything that
on the search warrant.
somebody could go
When you see the
into.
police video when they go into the house, the computers had all been removed.
Newly
Man.
revealed witness testimony from
How about that?
2019 shows Epstein called one of his assistants, who he was also abusing, and directed her to remove not only the computers, but all the contact books in his house.
Ah, there it is.
Documents show in October 2005, Epstein told her to go to Palm Beach to meet someone to hand over the contact books and computers.
That's right.
And
The
who
Hillary
did she
Clinton
hand them
special.
to?
Epstein ordered her to hand everything over to a private investigator.
Start us a new chat. Let's start us a new chat. So we know that he ordered that girl to give everything to a private investigator. What's this chat? Nothing. Okay. So what we're gonna do? We're in the wrong screen. All right, here we go. So what we're gonna do? And you couldn't see this before, what I was talking about. This is my web built on the original video of this news report. This video back here is kind of where I started building my web. Hadn't really gotten into the private investigator, which I should. You know what? It's time. It's time we dive into this private investigator. So we're gonna move that over there. We want information about the private investigator. We also want it to go back and kind of take a look and see if there's any issues in the redactions. So remember, we found tons of redaction problems, tons of issues with the redactions. I don't know if we got rid of it earlier, but we pulled up one image where there was tons of inconsistencies in how we can match that. Essentially, where is it? Okay, in this email right here, this one right here, we pulled out this. Like, basically, all of these are bad redactions. It shows that this change from Italian to English means this person is using a VPN. And the reason we say that is because earlier we did this. We snagged all of this. English, English, Italian, Italian, English, Italian. But in here, we've also found, we're going to go new. In these, this is what I did for a living. This is what I can do, what I do for a living, or used to. Back there. Okay. So what we found here, get us a red pen, a little bit of a bigger stroke. So right here, 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 here. Yeah, it's still there. Here, here. In those places, you can see the part that's redacted, but it's not redacted. As you can see how it's, you got that one little space right there. And then you see these three, and it appears all the way up and down, all the way up and down. I circled it right here, but it's essentially behind this little red line here. Same with those. And they all essentially appear in the same spot. The middle toward the back end. Mostly the middle area. And this one's the back end every time. Back end. Which tells me it's the same person. That's the same person that's using not only in English, but in Italian. You also see this gives you a time. His Italian isn't giving a time, but this is giving a time because of that. The same person. They're using a VPN. They're either using a VPN or they're using a machine, two different machines. One is localized for English and one is localized for Italian. But when we did that, it gave us all of this over here. We said, okay, this is the same person. We have these same little inconsistencies within the redactions. This was like they realized they messed up. Because if you go over here, this document, here. I think this is all Epstein stuff. Yeah, this is Epstein stuff. I think it's the one underneath it. Yep, it's Epstein stuff. So it's this one under here. This says Epstein. It's the bad redactions, all these issues. And even here, we do that all the time. So what we're going to do is going to do this here. We're actually save tag. And imagery. Forgot you can't use question mark because it's a coding. That drop it here. Because this is also Italian. This a little tough to see there. Yeah, it's the Messapoli. Mousepoli. Definitely. Bad redactions there. Also say the same thing. Right here. We'll find. Save that real quick. Bad redaction and bad. All right, so we have another bad one here, and this is also it's also probably going to be the same thing, but when we get over here, that's where they jacked way up. This right here. I'm in my area, so got one here. Bad redaction. This one's not as bad, but you can still, this right there kind of makes it obvious. But then this, you go down here, you're like, duh. This is Melusine Rosoli. That's this is gonna do this. Purple line, yay. You go here. And this is also the same person. This as JPEG, a JPEG. And even people would say, well, that doesn't prove anything. It proves that somebody in Italy is we're gonna actually I'll push that. Okay, here's the one of the right here up here. It says who that is right there. So what what we'll do from there is we'll prompt it because I believe they're to do with finance. Because these emails, that one. Actually, this is a weird conversation. This was one of the weird ones. Yeah, this is, I believe this is that same. Yeah. They were she set up a meeting. They set up a meeting with Leslie, and that's how they connect to Leslie. Left their email address left their email address unredacted. I never looked up that name. Oops, son of a bitch. But you there for now, Gilbert. Figure out where you go. Okay, yeah. So they were in contact with Leslie about return flights to Rome. I haven't looked into what capacity, but we only kind of got started because we connected to Leslie, jumped into Leslie, found that Leslie is most certainly connected to Julia, but she's also possibly connected to Kira as well. Kira and this D-tape person. But they're also connected to all the connection to the documents are busted. I'd have to essentially resend my prompts, which is fine. We're just right now. I just need to pull, because this is the sketchy lawyer with the weird website. Like a kook. Something like that. Some goofy website. Over here. It's got a wait. Got a lawyer thing. Oh, it's right here. Huckuk.pro. I was way off. Ow, I'm putting myself in the damn eye. That guy. Poked myself in the eye. All right. Uh, pass it. Set that here for now. Just So we start putting those two connections together, so we don't forget them, because obviously we can't go back and click in some of these documents. Okay, Pro. They're friends. Morning, Arda. Prof is definitely pleasant. What's up, bud? You up to? The curtain time. Curtain time. No. What are we doing? This is what we do. But yeah, Asmund, fuck him. We go off on our own thing. What did we wanted? We were looking for somebody. I completely forgot what we were even looking for from Asmund's thing. Go back. Oh, the private investigator thing. Let's see what we found on there. Oh, goodness. I completely forgot about that. Okay. Now, where we are. There we go. Okay. Based on the investigation, I can now provide a comprehensive answer. Epstein case, pattern of intimidation and surveillance. Oh, lovely. We have a name. Oh. Mentioning the pressure. Really don't explain anything. Yeah, it's from an ABC News article. Explain much. Yeesh, it was. They missed the apostrophe during one of Blank's visits to Epstein's residence. That's a victim. Witness testimony. Yep. Witness testimony. About the massage stuff. Oh, this is backpack. Back. This is a multiple document thing. This is a case document. Huh. This talks about it makes this is over here. What I was reading that makes it hints at it. Structure Black. Roy Black. Huh. So Roy Black. Safe to say that Roy Black, why the computers are removed. They are tampered with evidence too. Federal crime there, Mr. Black. Um Oh, we got bad redactions. Fortunately, not enough to really tell anything, but those are bad redactions. That looks like a lowercase r. They doubled them up, which means this was one of those ones that you could copy and copy pasta off the document. That's why it's doubled up here. They realized it was a bad redaction and doubled it up. They just left this. They didn't even care. We're gonna bin this. You gotta love incompetent. We're actually gonna move Roy over here. We're gonna move Roy over here. And we got this unknown, unknown PI tampered with evidence at the Palm Beach residence. Because he also is one of the ones that took, I guarantee he was the one that took the computers, or not the computers, but from the one document where it's actually the one that it's in here. I was like, I was going to go over here and look for it, but no, that's here. That PI is here. So we've actually, by doing kind of like in our own way, tracked back to the PI from Roy Black. So yeah. And which means this unknown PI go here. Once we find out more about this unknown PI, then we'll get into it. But again, the unknown PI whose name's been redacted, connected to Roy Black because Roy advised him to pick up the stuff, aka evidence tamper. What's next?
Epstein told her to go to Palm Beach to meet someone to hand over the contact
That's the
books
private
and
investigator.
computers.
That's right. The Hillary Clinton
And
special.
Epstein ordered her to hand everything over to a private investigator. She was then directed
See,
by
it even said it right there.
Private investigator.
Recalled the gentleman to be Detective Black. That's a lawyer. Bad redaction right there. Exposed R's. That looks like an exposed N. Man.
She was then directed by Epstein to collect all the contact books from his home in the Virgin Islands, and later to bring items back from the island to New York, where she was told to shred it in Maxwell's office. And the contact books from both residences then erased. Or so they thought.
Nope. The butler.
I'm surprised. Like, what's crazy is that they do some things that are so sloppy. Like, you obviously.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually.
And if you should burn it afterwards, because if they're recovering your garbage and you shred something, they can put that back together in a day. Like, it's going to take them literally 0 minutes and 0 hours to do this. It's going to be instantaneous. They're going to figure it out. So
the butler was
I don't know
indicted.
what they're even thinking.
Unbeknownst to Epstein or his now convicted accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, Alfredo Rodriguez, Epstein's butler, had kept a copy of the book.
This
Rodriguez worked as the
guy.
manager of Epstein's Palm Beach home for 6 months between
Wow.
Rodriguez.
in 2004 and 2005. Documents show he told the FBI, among other things, he knew that Epstein was having sexual contact with minor females at his house.
No
Alfredo
way.
called the police. I mean, Alfredo was terminated because of his concern about the activities that were going on inside the bedroom.
Yeah, no doubt. I bet.
Rodriguez spoke to the Palm Beach police and
Was he-
FBI, but never
and that's the
shared
thing,
he had a
though.
copy of the book, essentially depriving law enforcement of a bounty of investigative.
I'd argue that he was terminated for that because he just found it all in bad taste when he was trying to extort law enforcement for the books. He's charging them 50 grand for the books, withholding evidence for the books. So this is one of those things, though. That's where I say, I don't think he was some innocent guy. I need to get out of here. No. He probably saw the walls closing in, took what he could, and bailed. And concocted a story. I just can't believe. Sorry. I just don't believe that he was just some genuinely good guy and then just turns around. I need paid. I got fired. I need paid. No. Like, you get paid by the good deeds you did by saving people from being trafficked by that guy and his powerful friends. So, like, trying to get a $50,000 payday off of illegal activity. So, just going to leave it here because we're going to look into that guy too. I'm sorry to tell you, you're not a good guy if you're trying to bribe law enforcement in order to hand over some stuff. I'm going to play this. I'm going to go grab this ice cream out of the freezer, and I'll be back.
Leads.
Sure.
After Epstein was behind bars, lawsuits and civil depositions began.
One of the people I deposed that summer was Alfredo Rodriguez.
Right.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear the testimony
This is
you're
the
about to
guy.
give should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Brad Edwards, representing Epstein survivors, interviewed Alfredo Rodriguez 2 times.
Alfredo Rodriguez was very nervous for the first part of the deposition.
I'd be nervous.
You could tell he had more information than he was giving. He talked about, it's the Black Book. He talked about being fired and obtained some documents that had some of the names of some of the young girls that were coming over to the house. But
It's worse. Even the FBI was protecting
He
Epstein.
gave the impression in his deposition
I don't
that
know.
he didn't know where that was.
Rodriguez, desperate for money, saying no one would hire him, later asked Edwards for $50,000 in exchange for a copy of the book.
I
Easy
couldn't
money.
convince him that he needed to just turn it over. So
just give him the money.
I called the U.S. Attorney's office and said, look, I have to report that a witness is holding a document
just give him the money.
hostage with a price tag of $50,000.
A sting operation with the FBI was quickly launched to retrieve a copy of the book from Rodriguez. New video and phone calls show the exchange.
I was going to tell you where to meet me.
Oh.
Okay, Gary, go ahead, give me the address. There's a Hilton Hotel at the corner of Glades Road in Boca. I'm in room 118.
He should have asked for more.
No, nothing.
Uh-huh.
The FBI just went through the files of Palm Beach Police Department, and they didn't subpoena me.
I wonder if this was done because they were lazy or because it was intentional, you know?
Man on the right, an FBI agent undercover as Brad Edwards' associate. On the left, Rodriguez in possession of a copy of the Black Book. In the hour-long recorded conversation, Rodriguez tells the undercover FBI agent who to contact, circling the names of people he thought would have more useful information.
I highlight in this book that I have access, crucial information. I put it into my handwriting, and also I compile a list of the people and list of the girls on Palm Beach that were.
Man, only for $50,000.
Okay, but I took my time to organize this with stickers and I see dates. You will see a lot of important people here.
The amount of famous names that were in that. Mick Jagger, Courtney Love.
Not good.
Prince Andrew.
There he is.
Fergie. Just people from all over the world. World. President Clinton.
Oh, yeah.
President Trump.
Not good.
He wasn't president at the time, but Donald Trump was in there. And just so many famous people were in there.
Yep.
And though many names are listed, inclusion in the book is not evidence of
Y'all remember whenever they this leaked and it came out to the public and Bobby Kotick was in it? Remember that?
wrongdoing. In the video, Rodriguez calls out names of people he thought had information, including now President Donald Trump, who's denied any knowledge of Epstein's crimes.
Of course, Donald Trump.
Also mentioned so-called massage providers from everywhere in the world.
The fact that
there sure are a lot of places to get massage. That's interesting.
Names and numbers of these girls, not only here but in other locations throughout the world, were contained in this book.
Yeah.
He thought he needed to preserve that information.
Yeah, of course.
All right, let me get you your money, buddy.
Uh-oh.
Shortly after that, when I guess they were supposed to give him the $50,000, he was arrested. It was uncovered to Alfredo that these were not Brad's fixers. This was the FBI.
Fast forward to 2026 as Epstein survivors continue to call for transparency and accountability.
While survivors have been exposed, abusers' names and contact information is redacted while our faces and stories are left on full display.
If you are willing, please raise your hands if you have still not been able to meet with this Department of Justice.
That's a lot of people.
And the deceased sex offender's so-called black book is now held by the FBI. It's been used as evidence during civil litigation and in Ghislaine Maxwell's criminal trial. Alfredo Rodriguez passed away in 2015 at the age of 60. After holding on to Epstein's book for 5 years, he was charged with obstruction of justice and in 2012 sentenced to 18 months in prison. Longer than Jeffrey Epstein would ever spend behind bars.
That's kind of funny. Wow. Yeah, I didn't even know about that at all. Holy fucking shit. And so you've even got people resigning over this too. I mean, again, I think it's just, I honestly think this is just going to keep getting worse. And I think that there's also, here's one of the things that I find to be interesting is that eventually other third parties are going to start leaking information about this. And that's one of the really, really big things that I've been waiting on to see happen. Because as soon as that goes down, that's whenever all bets are off. That's whenever things are going to get crazy. Because then you're going to have people going out there saying this stuff and just being as direct and as honest as you probably could be. And that's whenever things are going to get absolutely fucking insane. DeSultan deleted his X account and resigned due to the Epstein files. I did see that. Absolutely. House of Cards, man. Yeah, we need the other 3 million documents. Yes. And keep in mind that 3 million of the Epstein documents have not been released. That's what's so insane to me about this. Not even then have they been released. It's all cooked. It's over. Yeah, I know. This is nuts. r/conspiracy going crazy over Gizzy. Ghislaine Maxwell. Okay, let me pull this up and find it. So this is the conspiracy post we got going on here. Let me see. I'll pull it up. So they think it's a different person. Is that it? This is not a same person. So people think it's a different guy or a different person. I mean, okay, let me see where the other image is. Yeah, here's another one right here. So they think this is a different Ghislaine Maxwell. As a portrait artist, here are the different facial features that I noticed in Ghislaine Maxwell's 2026 appearance. So eyebrow shape looks different. Eyelids should sag more over time, especially since Ghislaine had hooded eyelids. Now she has a double eyelid. Note possible with surgery. Yeah, but how could she have gotten surgery if she was there? Noses do get bigger in old age and with menopause, but it looks completely different than the original. It's also more of a button nose, which is wider and shorter. This is not logical for cosmetic surgery / rhinoplasty. That's a nose job. And or hormonal changes. A few inconsistencies in lobe fattiness. I don't know about that. Her mouth is wider and the distance between smile lines. Her lips are also more defined, sharp, and flat. This could be a result of stopping lip filler. Her chin is also widely different in a way that no plastic surgeon would do. The position of her chin or prominent chin bone moves up a centimeter, which is part of the skull shape. What the fuck? So they think this is a fake. This is the fake one? What the hell is this? I don't know if this is real or not, guys. I'm not sure. Oh, here we go. Looks the same? Yeah, definitely. Is it the same person? I mean, if I can just pull this back, like, I mean, I mean, I'm not convinced by this. I'm gonna be honest. Like, this does not convince me. Like, this one, I think it's really the nose, in my opinion. The nose does kind of shift things. But, like, here's the other issue I have, right? Is that, if I pull this up, well, if you look at the way a person's face looks with different camera lenses, it's going to be way different, right? And so, like, and I've showed this before, is that you have people with different camera lenses and they do look different. But, like, here's the difference to me, though, right? Because, like, you look at this, is that in every single one of these, except for that, he's looking down in that one, so it's a little bit different. But, like, with none of these, the nose is not, it just doesn't look that same way, right? I mean, like, damn. I don't know, guys. Like, I asked Grok to analyze the photos. I mean, I don't think it's really going to do that. You want me to be honest? Like, I could do it and just see what happens, but I really don't think it's going to go anywhere. And so I'm going to go and say Super Grok. Where is it here? Where's the image of this bitch? Where the fuck was it? God damn it. Okay, all right. I'll do it like this. It's fine. Okay, let me go and just pull this up. MS Paint. Nope, wrong one. MS Paint. All right, no, we'll try it out. No, it's all right. It's all right. Let me black this out too real quick because it might confuse it with this right here. Okay, because it might, you know, like, is the AI, right? And so save Jizzlane. Who cares? Okay. Yeah, so there we go. All right. So I'll try it out. We'll see what happens, okay? We're going to get into this. We're going to figure it out. So where is this bitch? Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. Analyze this photo and tell me the differences between these two people. Okay. All right, we're going to figure it out. We're going to figure it out right now. Let's go. Because I'm predicating it on it being two different people. So if it catches me, then that means it's probably fake. Nothing in image, explicit ID, complicating direct tool access. Uh-oh. And so we're going to figure it out. Grok sucks at this? It might, but we're going to figure it out. Because the AI will know this. This is why it's smart. It can do this stuff. Look at the missing tattoo on Epstein. I already saw that. The one on his arm. Yeah, I already went through all that. I've seen a lot of these already. Like, y'all need to keep in mind that, like, I mean, I do see the shit on, like, all the crazy stuff that's going on. I see a lot of it, okay? So let me go and find this here. Her glasses make this one look bigger with the lenses. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna just see what it says, though. And that's what really matters. You need to use Gemini at the same time with the same question. You think I should try that too? Okay. All right, I'm gonna do it. Give me a minute. I'm gonna do it with the Gemini too. Gemini, ask it. What the fuck is this? Not now. Not now. Like, not now. Okay, analyze the photo. Upload the photo. There's the photo. Okay, and I'm gonna have it be thinking. Yeah, think. I'm gonna put it on thinking mode. Upload. Okay, so this is what it says. Two individuals' faces with red rectangular boxes highlighting specific facial features. It appears to be a screenshot frame from a graphic. I'll tell you the two differences. Key differences: gender presentation, age appearance, facial expression, hair, and grooming. The comparison might be from a video or a meme. And the two people seem distinct individuals rather than the same person at different times. Man, so even the AI says it. That's a lot. Holy shit. So the AI even said they look East Asian? Yeah, look at this. So this comparison may be from a video or a meme, but based solely on the photo, the two people seem distinct individuals rather than the same person at different times. What is the likelihood that they are two different people? Give me a percentage. 90. Wait, key factors that make them very likely two different people. I'd estimate over 95% probability that they are distinct individuals, not the same person. Oh my God. Gentlemen, we gotta shut this AI shit down, okay? Like, bro, it's poking holes in all these stories and all these narratives. This is bad. And they cloning people over here? Yeah, so what did Gemini say? Wait, okay. So does it say it's two different people? Of two individuals. Wait, even Gemini says this too. Wait a minute. How certain are you that they are two different people? Okay. What does it say? What's it going to say? It's not her, bro. No, give it a minute. Give it a minute. This is important. In the world of facial analysis, there is a distinct difference between lookalike and biometric match. While I can't provide a forensic grade guarantee of 100%, the anatomical markers in these two photos lean heavily towards them being different individuals. If I were a betting AI, I'd say they were different people. Man, so you got both of the AIs agreeing with each other that this is... Oh my God. I don't even know what to say now. And so, is it that puts it on call sheet? Yeah, fucking say you're not suicidal. I am not suicidal. I am not. But, and this is both AIs. This is with Grok AI and with Gemini and people that are on, and by the way, this doesn't mean it's a different person, right? It doesn't mean that. But like, it is really crazy that this is happening, right? It is. Now do reverse psychology and say they're the same? Well, I don't know about that. And LLMs are extremely good. What is this here? Extremely good at pattern detection like this? Yeah, I mean, maybe, right? But I mean, I could see the pattern being created by a lens type rather than anything else. So it's just hard for me to know what to go off of. I just came in late. What are we on about? So basically, the woman who came in and testified as Ghislaine Maxwell might actually not be Ghislaine Maxwell. It might be somebody different. Now, how do we know that? Because there's a post about it on Reddit that says they're different, and there's two AIs that also say they're different. The Google AI says they're different, and Grok AI says they're different. Man, I don't know what to say. How about voice analysis? Well, she doesn't really say enough in order to probably go off of that. She has said the same thing multiple times. So, yeah, why are you calling it? Just because I don't give a fuck about her name. That's the reason why. And I think it's funny. So, could the AI detect the difference in her voice if we have the clip? I have no idea. Search up photos of pregnancy nose. Menopause is the same for similar people. Well, they already talked about that, though, right? Because, like, the noses do get bigger with old age and menopause. So it was already discussed. So I don't know really what we're talking about here. We already looked at that. Is it just me, or does she kind of look like Mike Myers in the second image? So you think that they had Mike Myers come in and pretend to be her because he's an actor? Oh, that could be it. That's a good point. You're right.
I mean,
and it's kind of crazy. But
makeup artists are really good.
Conspiracy theory isn't as crazy as the flat Earth that might actually be true. Well, that's going to be the really big one. When we find out that we actually are on the firmament, the flat Earth is real, the globetards were all wrong, Galileo was being paid by the lizards, and everybody else before and after him was in on it as well. You know, that Greek guy with those sticks? Yep, they came down and they even talked to him. Or maybe he didn't even exist, you know? They made that up in order to create a, you know, a pattern, right? And it's globe maxing the Argonians, yes. And what is this here? Look at the latest posts on that subreddit.
That shit's
the latest
goofy.
posts on the conspiracy subreddit. Oh God. Okay. Let me see if I can find them. I've got to probably gonna look at that off camera, right? Very clearly. And DOG threatens AI firm with punishment for resisting its use of AI tech for war. I don't know really what that is. It's some other. Kim Kardashian is a trans female. Guys, is this true? Favorite piece of art within hidden messages. Iran war started soon. Timing is really Trump administration won't unredact the files. I need help identifying these people. These are just two random ass people. Oh my God. Gestaffel Maxstein. Man, how about that? Well, anyway, it seems like there's not really a lot to go off of here. Sorry to say. Check her side profile and the nose don't match at all. I mean, I don't know, guys. It could be a lot of different reasons. I mean, I'm not really completely convinced, right? I like fucking around and talking about this stuff, but like on a personal level, like seriously, am I actually convinced that this is not Ghislaine Maxwell and it's a stand-in body double? No, I'm not convinced by that. But I think it's funny and it's entertaining to talk about. It definitely is. But I just don't really see things happening.
The Ghislaine Maxwell thing is funny.
Yeah, maybe plastic surgery. It's called aging. Yeah, it could be aging, menopause, camera lens. It could be like 5 different things at the same time. Weight differences, facial expression. I mean, I'm not really ready to go and base it off of that, but it is a funny conversation, right? And it's also especially a funny conversation when both of the AIs come to this.
Let me know if you think they did this on purpose. So someone recently found out that if you go to the Epstein library on DOJ's website, and now instead of searching for something specific, you search for no images produced and hit search. It's going to show you thousands of PDF documents, and when you open them, it's just going to have this blank page that says no images produced. But if you go to the URL up top and remove the PDF part and then type in MP4 and hit enter, you'll find videos that I guess were labeled with the wrong file extension. For instance, here's an hour-long one of a jail cell camera with a whiteboard placed in front of it. And all the videos should be redacted, but I don't know what's all on there, so just keep that in mind.
I'll pull it up. Okay, I'll pull it up.
He's like, I'm gonna pull it up. Let's go see.
Epstein Justice, okay, and what's the thing that he clicked on? We're gonna go 1 for 1. Search full Epstein library. Okay, I'm gonna click on it right here. Type to search. That's not. It's not there. Yeah, I mean, I don't know really, like, I feel like that's not even it. And so, like, yeah, strange danger. No, I wouldn't have showed the images. Obviously, I wouldn't show that. But, like, type it in. Wait, you have to type.
Go to the Epstein library on DOJ's website.
What?
And now instead of searching for something specific, you search for no images produced and hit search.
Oh, okay, sorry. I thought it was automatic. Yeah,
you see his eyeballs like, oh shit, it did work.
Yeah, I'm gonna click on one from like page. I'm gonna just click on one on page 340. Okay. So I'm gonna open it up. The MP4 thing didn't even work either. Yeah, it says page not found. Try PNG. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's other file extensions.
No, it's not there either.
JPEG, PNG,
It works on .jpeg. Okay.
BMP.
I was about to ask how to spell JPEG.
MP3.
Okay, so it did work. AVI. Okay.
M4A.
Wait, what the fuck? It just automatically downloaded a file. Yo, what the fuck?
You're hacked.
It just put it on my computer. It just went and put it on my computer.
Well, goodbye,
it was a
Asman.
0 out of 0. It was probably nothing, right? But like, what the fuck?
Goodbye, Asman. He's going to prison. They didn't send some bad stuff to his computer.
No, there's an audio file. Was it MP3 then? I don't know about that. Let me try another one. How about that? How about we try another one? I'm gonna pull up this one here.
He said the continue mission. New file.
Okay. .mp4. I'm not seeing it, guys. Try the first one. Well, I don't want to try the first one. I don't give a fuck about the first one. I give a fuck about the 3050th one. Because like that's how you're really gonna check to see whether this is a legit thing or not, right? Like you're not gonna look at the first one, you're gonna look at like 10 other ones. That's the way I would do it. And it does work. It works on some of them, but I wanted to see a random, like, y'all understand the idea of a random sample?
Yeah.
Like that's the idea, is a random sample. Because like, so let me explain my thought process. So if the thought process is that they're hiding these files, then logically what would happen is that the files would probably, the ones that are the most problematic would be inside of the middle of the registry, right? Or like towards like the tail ends, you know? You wouldn't put them right at the end or right at the beginning because those are the ones that the majority of people are going to find. So you would hide them inside the middle of the data. And so that's why I looked inside of that to do a random sample. Try a different page, it would be random. Yeah, maybe, right? And so
it's going to show you thousands of PDF documents, and when you open them, it's just going to have this blank page that says no images produced.
It's just a registry labeling error. It's not a big deal.
Go to the URL up top and remove the PDF part, and then type in MP4 and hit enter.
Yeah,
you'll find videos that I guess were labeled with the
it
wrong
won't
file
because
extension. For instance, here's an hour-long one of a jail cell.
Randomly clicked on page 8 and it worked.
Because it's pulling it into a Chrome extension.
Can I show this? Yeah, it looks like this is not so bad. So this is just an hour-long footage of the jail. Damn. So we're going to have to go through every single one of these and figure out what happened. Like, I don't even know why. I mean, here's the thing.
I'd have to go into Firefox to be able to do it here.
File, like, they're going to have one where it's, like, shows them carrying, you know, Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein's walking out with them, and then they put in a dead body there, right? I'm not really thinking that's going to happen. So, I mean, I don't know, guys, because first pages are jail footage. Well, I don't know. He said he said page 8, right? That's just the guy sitting around doing fucking nothing, right? And yeah, it's leaked on X already. I don't know about that, but like, I'm just this stuff is kind of weird, man. It is, but I don't know whether it means anything yet or not. I think that people are gonna have to look it up and figure out what the difference is. So the cams were off. Well, it's something different, right? I mean, I think it's very clearly what it is. Got to keep digging. Let me go back. I'll read some more of the comments on this too and see if I can find what people are saying. Somebody better have written a Python script and started downloading these files as soon as the info dropped. Not me, I'm lazy. And Chad, get on to ship multiple cold storage drives as soon as possible. I'm on the stage where I realize I don't need to see it to believe it. Once you start noticing the pattern of behavior, there really isn't a point to keep looking at it. You're just going to fry your own brain. So what he's saying is that there's like no real, like there's never going to be any accountability for this. So it's like really frustrating to look at for him.
Yeah.
I think he's right. I do. Yeah. And I think that that's the way a lot of people feel about it, is that they see this stuff happen and they're like, well, what the fuck? Nobody's getting arrested. Nobody's getting in trouble. Nothing's ever happening. Yeah, people are angry about that. And I think that makes a lot of sense, really. But I don't think that any of these big people are going to get arrested or anything like that's going to happen. Why would we have to figure this stuff out when the FBI already knows everything? Because because they know everything. That's the reason why. And what is this here? Some of you are going to dig up those files. Please be careful. You could end up finding stuff you wish you didn't find. They have all that stuff censored out, right? I mean, that's it. So, like, obviously, like, yeah, it's bad, but I would be very surprised if, like, they actually release something that's, like, an illegal file. So, yeah, I wouldn't worry about it too much, but, like, I have seen a few of the photos, right? And it was, like, there was this one that I saw, like, Jesus Christ. It was, like, I think it was probably Jeffrey Epstein, right? With, like, his hand on, like, some girl's thigh. And it was, like, zoomed in on her ass. And, like, this girl was, like, probably 6 years old. And it was, like a part of it was blacked out, but part of it wasn't. And it was in the files. And I was just like, what the fuck is this? This was the first info dump that they had. And, like, that was actually, like, that was the reason why, like, when I saw that photo,
I didn't even go through his first,
I didn't go over the second
really go through any of the dumps.
First day that it came out, because I didn't want to accidentally show something like that on stream. Because even though it's not technically, you know, like, illegal content, it's disgusting and nobody should want to see that, right? So, like, that was my mindset for. So
I'm only going through
I mean, like, it's
the fucking written shit.
But, like, you know, again,
I don't need to see any pictures or images.
I'm a pretty, you know, I'm not really that kind of guy. Like, I can see something like that and it's like, that's really gross and weird, but it's not going to, like, emotionally affect me, I guess. Like, I don't know really how else I can explain it other than that. But, yeah. At what point can we consider the possibility there's really nothing in the Epstein files?
And that's what I said. What I said about them over redacting. They're over redacting because they don't want to accidentally release illegal material. It's easier to do damage control on a leaked victim list. It's easier to do damage control for that. It's a lot harder to do damage control when you have illegal material out there, illicit material. That's why they're over redacting, and that's why I don't believe that the victim list was truly like maliciously sent out by the DOJ. I believe that if it wasn't just a happenstance and just happened to be missed, which I don't understand how, it says victim list right on it. Me personally, I'm leaning more toward somebody purposely doing that to cause a massive discredibility to the DOJ, or to possibly give particular countries or a particular country knowledge that they have been looking for since the whole Epstein thing. Like I said, I'm going to say it was leaked by a bad actor. By an actual bad actor. A villain.
To its conclusion. Well, I mean, do you really think that it's nothing whenever they're using all of these coded? Like, I mean, this is, I think, the biggest thing to me. What is the probability that all of the conspiracy language that people used, like with pizza, hot dogs, etc., what are the odds that the conspiracy language that people reverse engineered 10 years ago is the same conspiracy language that seems to be represented in the Epstein files that was released today? What are the odds that it is a 1-to-1 replica?
Very high.
Guys, like that can't be a coincidence. It can't be.
It's a very
Those
high.
Videos people are blacked out. Yeah, I don't know really. I haven't seen those yet. Concerning Epstein was on 4chan, it's a closed loop. Epstein's using language, that became popular on the internet back in 2016 and 2017. Well, I don't know about that, but is everybody else using that same language? Because he's not the only one that's using these terms and these phrases. Like, what about all the celebrities that are using it completely separate from Epstein? How do you know that they're on 4chan? Or is Epstein going on 4chan make every celebrity, like Ellen DeGeneres, go on 4chan too? It doesn't make sense, man. It doesn't make sense at all. So if you're going to dig up some of these files, please be careful. Yeah, there it is. This could be illegal information. Yeah, I don't know about that. Damn, it really does work. Anything that the words native placeholder doesn't seem to work. Literally afraid of what I might find. I don't know about that. These people with stronger stomachs. Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to see, like, I'm not the kind of person that, like, gets bothered by gore, but I'm also not the person that likes watching it either, you know? Like, I think that's the way most people are. Like, I'm not really emotionally affected by bad stuff, but I still don't want to see it. Or should have archived all the videos before telling the public. Now they're 100% going to remove the files. They've probably already figured this out and done it already. I do think that it's probably just a labeling error more than anything else.
Came flying in like a rocket. Gotta give him some pets. Yeah, they go heavy. They go heavy. Oh, 300 names. Here.
Attorney General Pam Bondi claims the DOJ released all the Epstein files and even listed out 300 names. But we're seeing blowback saying that is not the end of the story. So we're going to go through some of the notable people named to understand what exactly their connection is, if any, to the accused child sex trafficker. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. There's no central Jeffrey Epstein client list that he had prepared. There's no little black book for people who knew about or participated.
We know that's a lie because it was, I mean, the FBI had to do a sting operation on a butler to get a black book. So can't say that there's not a black book when there is actually a black book and the FBI has got a copy of it. Oh, somebody's lying.
Participated in criminal activity and that he kept as a form of blackmail. This is not surprising. I never thought that there was anything like this. There's no evidence of that. There is an address book that we've talked about here on Sidebar before. It's not the same thing. And to be clear, I'm going to say this over and over again, just because someone is mentioned in the files or mentioned in an address book doesn't mean that they knew about or engaged in criminal activity.
And see, I hate that. I hate hearing that. I hate hearing. I hate people are even putting that as a precursor. No, you knew what was going on. The dude was at least back to 2006. Everybody knew what was going on. And yet everybody still was friends with him. You don't. It's just a goofy. It's a goofy statement that people are making. Just because they appear in the book doesn't mean that they're guilty of crime. Why were you friends with somebody that people otherwise called a boogeyman? Because you don't. You don't have a guy like that who does that kind of stuff who's not called a boogeyman. I mean, it's no different than working a regular job in the, say, across the job, Amazon warehouses, for instance. Hundreds of people work in those warehouses. Be the villain. Be any type of villain in that warehouse. Everybody will have heard about you. They might not know who you are, be able to pick you out, but they've heard of you. They've heard of this this clash. This person who clashes with everything, who this villain. Everybody hears about the villain. And when you're in a circle like this, everybody hears about the villain. So putting up that precursor of, well, just because they appeared somewhere, they heard about the villain. And the moment they meet the villain, they might not know that's the villain, but somebody knows that's the villain. They're like, you know who that is, right? Who? That's the villain. Oh, okay. And they leave it at that. Okay, he's a billionaire. He gives me money. Why do I care what he does on his own time and in his own home? That's how these people are. They'll pretend like, oh, I had no idea. I had no idea. I had no idea how a normal, a seemingly normal math teacher goes from a math teacher to a billionaire philanthropist. No. You know who he was. You knew who he was. You know who he was. And y'all are just trying to hide from it.
So let me briefly summarize. In terms of what was withheld from public disclosure, whose names were redacted for law enforcement sensitive purposes are not included, meaning if there's an ongoing investigation. Now, I'm not going to read you all 300 names. We're going to put it up on the screen here, but this is an example of some names. Jay-Z, Beyonce, Steve Bannon, George W. Bush, Bill and Hillary Clinton, George Clooney, Ron DeSantis, Richard Branson, Fidel Castro, Kurt Cobain, Mick Jagger, Cory Booker, Jeff Bezos, Joe and Jill Biden, Michael Cohen, James Comey, David Copperfield, Robert De Niro, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Jared Kushner, Janis Joplin, Donald Trump, Mark Zuckerberg, Peter Thiel, Ivanka Trump, J.D. Vance, Chris Tucker, Rupert Murdoch, Gavin Newsom, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Elvis Presley, Brett Ratner, Alyssa Milano, Elon Musk, Larry Nassar, Barack Obama, Tucker Carlson, Rosie O'Donnell, Bill Gates, Rudy Giuliani, Nikki Haley, Leon Black, Woody Allen, Alex Jones, Michael Jackson. Okay, so that's just a sampling of the names. Obviously,
okay.
There are a lot
and what you do is you ask every single one of them if they have an idea of how they ended up in his address book. How he ended up with your contact information. And obviously we can't subpoena people's phone records from decades ago. Or even like multiple years ago. What we can do is we can look into your bank records, into your financial history. See if you went from zero to hero overnight. Because that's kind of one of these situations. How you go from a math teacher to a billionaire seemingly overnight. You chewing on books? Better be books and not the floor. Don't be no butthead. And you all heard about the boogeyman and you just let him into your home. So if you truly didn't know he was the boogeyman that everybody was referring to, and you just thought that this guy was just some random act of kindness guy, you'd be able to explain that. You'd be able to explain your correspondence with him, or lack thereof. But if you going from zero to hero out of nowhere is sketchy. Especially if no one knew of you, and then all of a sudden you're everywhere. It's not how organic growing works. You're being pushed. And if you're being pushed the wrong way, that's where the problem lies. So you can say appearing in the book don't mean anything. Yeah, it does. It is a lot of questions that need to be asked in regards to you. Because again, if you went from zero to hero, we'd like to know how. Because I mean, if you went from zero to hero organically and did it legit with no money from a billionaire sex criminal, then you would be able to say, tell us how you did it, and we'd be able to replicate it. Because if all of you all did your $1 billion climb legitly, it would be easily replicable. We would be able to replicate it, and not just a handful of people would be billionaires. So again,
I'm going to get to what this means. But before I do that, real quick, got to give a shout out to today's sponsor, OneSkin. Files have been released, and the excuses provided for not releasing all the files will not hold up in a court of law. This isn't going away until people go to jail. There's another one. Where are all the logs from the receptionist station at Epstein's New York home? They kept track of underage children and people in power coming and going. Here's another one. Where is all the audio and video from the Lolita Express, meaning Jeffrey Epstein, jet? Then you had Representative Ro Khanna, quote, the DOJ is once again purposefully muddying the waters on who was a predator and who was mentioned in an email. To have Janis Joplin, who died when Epstein was 17, in the same list as Larry Nassar, who went to prison for the sexual abuse of hundreds of young women and child pornography, with no clarification of how either was mentioned in the files, is absurd. Release the full files, stop protecting predators, redact only the survivors' names. So why are all of these people listed? And I really want to focus more on names we haven't talked about as much. Like we've already discussed in previous episodes of Sidebar, the Clintons, President Trump, director Woody Allen's connection to Epstein, Elon Musk's back and forth with Epstein or his people regarding meeting up. Actually, I'll tell you what, before I even get to other names, one more thing about Musk that I thought was interesting, and this was outlined in a Fortune article. The files allegedly reveal a scheme by Epstein to get close to Musk's brother, Kimball, and even tried to handpick a woman for him. Like you have this email from an Epstein associate, Boris Nikolic, to Epstein in 2012 that says, just talk to Kimball. His actual birthday is on Thursday night, although his party is on Saturday. Kimball, Elon, and few of their closest friends will go out that night. I told him that you will join us as well. Also, I told him that you are coming with Redacted and that he might want to ditch his ex or current-to-be. He said yes and is looking so much forward. So please prepare Redacted. She might like Elon as well. And then you see how Epstein even tried to seemingly leverage that to get close to Elon Musk, where Epstein wrote Musk in one message, I will be in New York for next week. We'll see your brother in his new romance. And of course you have people like Bill Gates, Microsoft's founder, already well established that he had a connection to Epstein. There are photos of him in connection to Epstein. I talked about this in a previous Sidebar. It was reported that there was this bizarre email where Epstein alleged that Gates needed medication to treat an STI from having sex with Russian girls. Bill Gates has denied all of this. But anyway, giving an idea about the big names. So what about the other names? Now I'm going to give you the caveat that is laid out by Pam Bondi in her letter. It says, quote, names appear in the files released under the acts in a wide variety of contexts. For example, some individuals had extensive direct email contact with Epstein or Maxwell, while other individuals are mentioned only in a portion of a document, including press reporting that on its face is unrelated to the Epstein and Maxwell matters. Like, for example, you might have somebody like Elvis Presley, obviously no connection to Jeffrey Epstein, but then you get a Prince Andrew, who we've, by the way, talked about extensively in another episode of Sidebar where we talked about the royals.
A lot of it you can roll out based on the timing. Like Janis Joplin died when Epstein was 17 years old. Okay, you can roll out names like Janis Joplin. You can roll out names like Elvis Presley. So it's like it's one of those things where you can rule certain people out based on timing itself.
So that is what I want to provide context and explanation for, because listing these out, people might jump to conclusions, but let me try to explain it. So for example, a name like rock singer Janis Joplin. You know why she's in there? She was referenced in a mass email that BCC'd Jeffrey Epstein, and in the email listed music of the week. Quote, Janis Joplin, Big Brother and the Holding Company, Piece of My Heart. Seemingly innocuous, although interesting because there appears to be a redacted line underneath this sentence. What about Nirvana's Kurt Cobain? Why is he in there? So in an informational email that was sent to Epstein from popular in your network, info@twitter.com, one of the things it seems to recommend for him is an article remembering Kurt Cobain on the 22nd anniversary of his death. So as you can see, it's not like Joplin or Cobain were somehow connected to Epstein. Again, wouldn't even make sense given the time frame. And then you have somebody like former President Barack Obama, where from what I could see, it was just a lot of articles about Obama in the files release, like news articles. I didn't find any direct ties between Epstein.
And see, that's one of those things. When it comes to something like Obama, the ties are where Obama comes from. Yeah, he was a senator, but he was a nobody. He was a nobody. What did he do as a senator? He didn't do a ton of things. So for Barack Obama to come out of nowhere and then have this weird, sketchy background in history, I would say the line is flimsy, but it's a conspiratorial flimsy, which means that it's just a matter of somebody finding the evidence that says that Epstein also had a hand in pushing Obama presidency. Because, again, he worked for a particular intelligence agency for a particular country who is all about pushing Democrat politicians. So, kind of where that connection goes. It's flimsy, but it's flimsy only because somebody in a conspiracy is trying to find it. Somebody's who's latched onto that conspiracy is trying to find all the connecting evidence, which, and things like that, they're going to do real well in trying to hide anything that would bring light to it, especially if he is an illegit president.
And the former president. Same kind of thing with Bruce Springsteen. Mentions of him are about tickets and concerts and email blasts. So as you go through this list, and maybe you're going to go on the DOJ's library yourself, just keep that in mind. But what about somebody like actor George Clooney? Now this is interesting because on one hand, you have Clooney mentioned in certain aspects. Like there was an email sent to Jeffrey Epstein in 2011 saying, quote, "Reminder, today is the day Peggy was hoping you could be in Venice with her for the Clooney opening. Pacino to be there," seemingly in reference to Al Pacino. Now Peggy seems to be in reference to Peggy Siegel, big-time publicist, frequent communication with or about Epstein. We mentioned this before, but there was an allegation that she even tried to do damage control for Epstein when all these allegations were coming out. But then you have this email titled Toronto Film Festival, this is back in 2009, from Peggy Siegel to Epstein, where it says, "Had a great time in Toronto, saw everyone, George Clooney, Michael Douglas, Jeffrey Rush, Drew Barrymore, etc. Saw all studio execs, more important." How about this one, from Siegel to Epstein from 2011? "This email to George Clooney gives you an idea how successful my Venice trip was. Accomplished so much. Hung and discussed their work with George Clooney, Kate Winslet, Keira Knightley, Colin Firth, Al Pacino, on and on. We have working on all the hot films. Have to write my story now. Miss you. Want to see you when in New York City. XOXO Peggy." So not really sure what to make of that, unless of course she's just sharing with him her exploits, or, he likes being involved or connected to the rich and powerful and wants to make connections, and she might be the conduit. I don't know. But then there's this one we got to talk about. So someone writes Epstein in 2010, quote, "Can I have a muse same as George Clooney? In fact, what about George Clooney?" Epstein writing back, "In your present position, it should be George Clowney." Now at the bottom of the email string, it says Peter Mandelson, somebody we've talked about before, the British politician who came under a lot of fire for emails that surfaced with him and Epstein, particularly celebrating and congratulating him when he was released from prison after his conviction on Florida state charges of solicitation of prostituting a minor. That's a little weird. Then you have this email too from Epstein to someone back in 2014 with the subject line, "Clooney in Copenhagen, quote, now I know Copenhagen has interesting girls. Ask Gianni if you should see agencies on his behalf." This is what Epstein writes back. So I don't know what to make of these Clooney emails per se, but the actor has never been accused or implicated in wrongdoing in connection with Jeffrey Epstein, but obviously I gotta mention this. And then you got these notable people that have a more direct connection with Epstein, like actor Chris Tucker, okay? You have this email from 2013 that reads, "Chris Tucker will be stopping by to see J.E. sometime before his show tonight. No exact time was given." And we already know there were photos of Tucker in connection with Epstein, like there's one with him and Ghislaine Maxwell that has been circulated quite a bit. What about Jay-Z? So Jay-Z presents an interesting one to follow. There is a 2019 FBI crisis intake memo where someone back in July of 2019 apparently called the FBI Operations Center to identify herself as a victim of sexual abuse by Jeffrey Epstein and others. And later on it says, quote, "In approximately 1996, Redacted resided with Redacted in Redacted. an unknown man abducted Redacted from her home when she later awoke in the presence of Harvey Weinstein and Sean Carter, Jay-Z, while Weinstein had, and I'm not going to be too graphic here, sexually abused her. Redacted believed she was in Epstein's mansion in Florida. Weinstein, of course, is the disgraced movie producer who was convicted of sex crimes. But I will tell you, this is very similar to a range of tips that authorities were receiving in the wake of Epstein's allegations that were potentially never corroborated. I mean, we discussed the same thing multiple times on previous episodes of Sidebar regarding the unsubstantiated sexual abuse allegations against President Trump, too. Just something to keep in mind. But names like Harvey Weinstein, not a great connection. Neither is Bill Cosby, okay? He, too, is mentioned in the Epstein files. Like this email to Epstein from 2013, quote, Rich Barnett ran into Mr. Cosby's houseman on 71st Street. The houseman said, unfortunately, Mr. Cosby will be out west somewhere in California when you're holding the dinner on the 23rd. Otherwise, he would have loved to come. So this idea that Epstein just loved to be affiliated and associated with the rich and famous, and as we know, Cosby would later be accused and go to trial on sexual assault claims. This one was surprising. Former TV show personality Dr. Oz, who's an official
he was
in the
later
Trump administration.
Convicted of sexual assault crimes.
From 2016 from Mehmet and Lisa Oz, that's his wife.
Like, again, yeah, we're just always trying to look for a pattern. Well, when the pattern looks like a duck, walks like a duck, and quacks like a duck, it probably is a fucking duck. Like, I don't know how much more we would have to, like, to really think about. Because it's like, if you didn't hear about the boogeyman, then you weren't in Hollywood. You weren't part of that. You weren't part of the in crowd. So it's like, there's no way they all didn't hear about the boogeyman. Because that's what this dude is. This dude is the boogeyman. Zero to hero boogeyman. And there's no way they all didn't hear about him.
Wife. And now remember,
they all just thought they were all insulated, is what it was.
On solicitation of prostitution charges of a minor. And this email is to Epstein, and it is actually an invite to Mehmet and Lisa Oz's Valentine's celebration. How about this one? Sent to Epstein in 2010. Rudy Giuliani could see you tomorrow, either at 12 or at 4:45. I'm not sure what time you arrive tomorrow, but I am thinking the 4:45 is better. Again, have to make the caveat. Just because he was invited places or had meetings with places doesn't mean these people are guilty of anything, okay? Why is Robert De Niro listed? Well, Epstein receives an email in 2013 that reads, Hi, Jeffrey. Called Redacted, but she never called back. Have been seeing Redacted once in a while. Have lots to tell you. Call me when you, I think it says, set up coffee deal with De Niro. Launched in Whole Foods under Grace of Rwanda. Best, Jonathan. So maybe trying to meet Robert De Niro, possibly another De Niro. There are more about the actor, though, too. So you go back to Peggy Siegel. How about this one, 2017, when she wrote, Dear Jeffrey, I am volunteering to help the New York Film Society of Lincoln Center with their spring gala called the 44th Annual Chaplin Awards, honoring Robert De Niro on May 8th. The presenters include Whoopi Goldberg, Meryl Streep, Martin Scorsese, Ben Stiller, and Harvey Keitel. See attached invite. I need to talk to you about the possibility of you buying a table that I can fill with movie stars, and hopefully you can attend. Now, Epstein was also on an email blast from an account that was set up for Jane Rosenthal and Robert De Niro back in 2015 regarding the Tribeca Film Festival, which the actor helped to found. But as you'll see, it's just an example of his connections to powerful people. And while I couldn't find, let's say, a direct email between Robert De Niro and Jeffrey Epstein, let's talk about Mark Zuckerberg for a second, okay? Facebook. How about this message? Quote, Leslie thanks. The things I discussed with Jeffrey were for he and Woody, seemingly Woody Allen, to visit Mark Zuckerberg at Facebook or for Mark to join them at dinner. I've sent Mark the options and I'm waiting to hear back. How about this? Andrea, could you also please pass along the below link to Mark from Jeffrey? Thanks. Again, this is Leslie, Jeffrey Epstein's assistant. How about this one? Here are the details for the Sunday dinner. Attendees are, and it lists out Mark Zuckerberg, Peter Thiel, Jeffrey Epstein. There are more names on there too. I mentioned Hakeem Jeffries, so getting into the political space. Seems at the very least, Epstein was kind of keeping a careful eye on the Democratic politician out of New York. He was forwarded an article about the rising star in 2013. Epstein also received an email, could be an email blast. It says, "Dear Jeffrey, I hope you received an invite to the party that Congressman Hakeem Jeffries this Wednesday night in Manhattan. Comptroller-elect Scott Stringer will be leading the celebrations in what promises to be a great night." Again, didn't find any direct connection or direct email between Hakeem Jeffries and Jeffrey Epstein. What about George Soros, the investor? Email sent to Epstein in 2011. "Thank you, just landed in New York, was terrific. Flew over your island coming back from Necker to St. Thomas. George Soros and Richard Branson loved your question about dictators hiding money." Amazon founder Jeff Bezos. You have this email from 2018 to Jeffrey Epstein where it reads, "Jeff Bezos at SMU Friday, worth seeing if I'm not still sick?" Epstein replies, "Yes, you can say hello from me." So was there a connection between Bezos and Epstein? Also this one from Peggy Siegel to Epstein in 2009. "Just left Ghislaine's townhouse, after party for film. Bill Clinton and Jeff Bezos were there. Gene Pagoni, director, Miranair, etc." So you can see his connections in some way, but I will say the names that really prove to be pivotal and come up a lot are people like Leon Black, the investor and former CEO of Apollo Global Management. So for example, there's an email from May 26, 2023. The names are redacted, but the subject line is E-Notes Trafficking Leon Black Call. And this apparently is a call with Gian Christensen from Wigdor LLP. This is a law firm. And this firm actually at one point represented a woman who claimed she was raped by Leon Black, but they eventually wanted to withdraw from the case. And anyway, the email states, quote, "Leon Black, Wall Street person, 72 or 71 years old now, founded largest private equity global fund that exists today that's publicly traded, one of Epstein's friends, very powerful. Got a call from victim woman who said that she heard about lawsuit against Black. Victim said Black raped her around 20 years ago, 2001 or 2002, in Epstein's townhouse. Victim described it, felt pain, on massage table with head on floor and legs on his shoulders, excruciating. Spoke with redacted at Manhattan DA's office. Substance abuse problems in 1990s, preyed on by Epstein, gave massages to Epstein and Black for money." Another claim. Minor victim at Epstein's townhouse and was told to give Leon Black a massage. Violently raped by Black. 16 years old when raped by Black. Epstein and Black used to talk about victim and described her as being 10. They knew about her. Redacted. And when you couple those allegations with emails apparently showing Epstein associates arranging meetings between him and Black, I mean, there's one, Leon Black will come see JE tomorrow at 10 a.m. He may want breakfast. Please be prepared. It doesn't look good. And while Black's lawyer, Susan Estrich, previously denied the allegations, for example, saying in a statement, Mr. Black asked for an independent investigation of his relationship with Epstein. The Detchert law firm investigated and reviewed more than 60,000 documents, interviewed more than 20 people, and concluded that Mr. Black paid Epstein for estate planning and tax advice, and that he had no awareness of Epstein's criminal activities. There was still fallout. Black reportedly left Apollo in 2021 after a lot of questions came up about his relationship with Epstein, although he said it was for health reasons. But how about this? You had a school photography company known as Lifetouch came under a lot of scrutiny recently because it turns out its parent company, Shutterfly, was owned by Apollo. Again, where Black worked. So the concern is you're storing all these photos of kids. They put out a statement on their website on February 10th saying Lifetouch is not named in the Epstein files. The documents contain no allegations that Lifetouch itself was involved in or that student photos were used in any illicit activities. And it also should be noted that Apollo wasn't linked to Shutterfly and Lifetouch until September of 2019, so this is 1 month after Epstein died. By the way, Black has never been charged with a crime in connection with these allegations. But also another person I got to talk about, Richard Branson, okay, the billionaire founder of Virgin Group. Now, his association with Epstein was already quite known, considering the two were photographed together. But let me just expand upon that, because you can see so many emails exchanged between the two or trying to connect the two. Like you have this one from 2013 to Jeffrey Epstein that reads, Richard Branson is unable to come to your island because he has guests, but he wants to extend an invitation to you for lunch on Sunday. Dean Kamen and Greg Weiler will be going as well to this lunch. Or how about this one from November 2013, where Epstein writes to Branson's assistant, I can send heli or meet anywhere. And Branson's assistant replies, Hi, Jeffrey. If Richard comes to you for lunch, would he have to go through immigration and customs on St. Thomas? Is there a quick way of getting through? And then you have direct communications, like this one from Branson to Epstein in September of 2013. Dear Jeffrey, it was really nice seeing you yesterday. The boys in water sports can't stop speaking about it. Anytime you're in the area, we'd love to see you, as long as you bring your harem. I think if Bill Gates was willing to say that you've been a brilliant advisor to him, that you slipped up many years ago by sleeping with a 17-and-a-half-year-old woman and were punished for it, that you've more than learnt your lesson and have done nothing that's against the law.
Yeah, I remember
since.
reading
Yes,
this
as a
one.
single man, you seem to have a penchant for women, but there's nothing wrong with that. Anyway, something along those lines. So I have to make the argument, is that seemingly in relation to his conviction, right? A way to rehabilitate his image to get more business? Maybe.
Yep.
Now, Branson's company came out, denied that he had any involvement in Epstein's wrongdoing, that his meetings with him were limited to group or business settings, and that he cut off ties with Jeffrey Epstein after they, quote, uncovered serious allegations. And by the way, in a statement, Branson's company says, had they had the full picture and information, there would have been no contact whatsoever. Richard believes that Epstein's actions were abhorrent and supports the right to justice for his many victims. What about United States Secretary of Commerce Howard
I mean,
Lutnick?
there are lawyers working overtime in all this. They're all working in, like, they're getting paid fat money.
I'm sure you heard his name in the news recently. So this is Epstein's former neighbor. He has been taking a lot of heat recently over his connection to Epstein. See, the problem for Lutnick is the files seem to show he was in contact with the convicted felon years after he claimed he cut off contact with him. Like, you have this one from Lutnick, where he writes Jeffrey Epstein, I believe in 2018, "Are you aware as to them building to block our park views? What should we do about it? Time is of the essence." There appears to be an invitation to Epstein from Lutnick asking him to attend a Hillary Clinton fundraiser in 2015. You have this email from Epstein's assistant in 2017. "Hello, Amanda. Jeffrey Epstein will be contributing to the UJA Wall Street dinner honoring Howard Lutnick. Can you please provide an address to where we can FedEx a check to? Whose attention? Anything else we should know?" And how about these from 2012? An email from Lutnick to Epstein. "Hi, Jeff. We're landing in St. Thomas early Saturday afternoon and planning to head over to St. Bart's, Anguilla on Monday at some point. Where are you located? What's the exact location for my captain? Does Sunday evening for dinner sound good? I have another couple, Michael and Marcy Lehrman, with me on my boat, and each of us has 4 children, 2 16s, 2 14s, a 13, a 12, an 11, and a 7-year-old. Thanks, Howard." The response back, quote, "Below from Jeffrey, comes Saturday or Sunday lunch, Little St. James on the map behind Chrisman's Cove." By the way, there are currently calls for Lutnick to resign, but nothing has come of it yet. But the fallout for others, not so great. Like, you have Larry Summers, former head of Harvard, Treasury Secretary. The friendship between Summers and Epstein's was well reported. You had the Harvard paper, The Crimson, revealing a lot, that Summers had apparently visited Epstein's Island in 2005. There were flight records as part of a lawsuit that revealed he had traveled on Epstein's plane multiple times. But then you get these emails.
He just looks creepy.
And you see all these
He looks super creepy
between the men, like where Summers was looking for Epstein for seemingly romantic advice, with Epstein saying, quote, "He's a pretty good wingman. I didn't want to be in a gift-giving competition while being the friend without benefits." You have this exchange from just months before Epstein was arrested in 2019, where Summers writes about some woman. "I said, 'What are you up to?' She said, 'I'm busy.' I said, 'Awfully coy you are.' Epstein responds, 'She's smart, making you pay for past errors. Ignore the daddy, I'm going to go out with the motorcycle guy. You reacted well. Annoyed shows caring. No whining showed strength." Now, Summers released a statement that said, "I'm deeply ashamed of my actions and recognize the pain they have caused. I take full responsibility for my misguided decision to continue communicating with Mr. Epstein." But he ended up stepping back from his duties at Harvard. He resigned from his board position at OpenAI. Now, again, to be clear, just a mere association or mention or emails or correspondence doesn't mean that anyone had knowledge of criminal wrongdoing.
Resigning your positions and all that stuff.
And just to be clear as well, no one has been charged other than Maxwell and Epstein.
Especially if there's no evidence. There's no evidence. Why are you resigning?
Go and do your own research and see what you find. That's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar.
That's what's funny about it, is if you're not doing anything wrong, it was all platonic and perfectly innocent, then why are you resigning? Oh, the backlash. Nope. because there's this thing called evidence. If people don't have evidence, they like backlash shouldn't mean anything. That's those are you all's words. Like that's some of the things that crowd says. Like, you don't have evidence, I'm gonna sue you for slander. Okay, so if there's not going to be any evidence you were doing any wrongdoing, and merely appearing here doesn't mean I'm doing anything wrong, then why are you tendering your resignation? Well, I'm old and my health is bad. Yep. Yeah, sure. We'll go with that. Yeah, we'll go with that. Is that what your lawyer told you to say? Because a lot of the stuff that I hear being said is something that you would hear a lawyer tell a client to say, especially when they're a fat paid lawyer too. So yeah, and I guarantee if it was possible to subpoena lawyer records, a lot of these lawyers would be going to prison themselves. But it's just weird. If you've got enough money, you can protect yourself from any and all crimes that you commit, as we're seeing. And it's gross. It's gross. And you wonder why we want to rip it down. Because it's too easy to make connections to things that you all are doing now. You underestimate us. You've been doing it, and fortunately, you haven't killed enough of us to stop. So we're just going to keep continuing to do what we're doing. So if you want us to stop painting a picture, then show the whole picture. You know what you need to keep out. You know what you need to show. I'm gonna get ready for bed because I'm tired. I got class in the morning. Well, I got class tomorrow afternoon, but I got stuff to do in the morning. Till then, peace out, Girl Scout.